America, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I just cannot wrap my brain around it. I really cannot. And I just don't understand how people don't see that. Like, just even on a moral level, he is not a good person.
First things first, let me make one thing clear. If you voted for Donald Trump, you are an enemy to morality. Now, I'm not sure how we got here. Number one, Donald Trump is a convicted felon, convicted on 34 counts, as a matter of fact. If people are as competent as they claim to be, you wouldn't trust a felon around your kids, would you? But those same people just put one in the White House. You wouldn't put a felon, he's a convicted felon. He is a convicted felon, people. And some of you are now responsible for putting a convicted felon in the White House. And let me speak to the black people just real quick. 80% of black men voted for Kamala Harris. 90% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. And first off, I want to say we did what we had to do. Obviously, I'm not excusing the 20% of black men who did vote for Trump, and I'm not excusing the 10% of black women who also voted for Trump. I would just kindly ask them to step left, to exit left, because you can't save these people no more. There really is no more room for discussion. If you voted for Trump, you are wrong. You know, I'm seeing a lot on social media, especially now, talking about how he is gonna be better for the economy. Let's just assume that's true. Is that a good enough reason for him to give the cops, to give police officers blanket immunity to kill people who look like me? Is that okay? Money supersedes life. And I mean, let's not ignore the other things, you know. He is actively trying to strip away women's rights. And I will also say he's trying to strip away civil rights, my civil rights, potentially your civil rights. I'm not sure how we got here. Y'all just voted against your own interests. I don't get it. And I mean, you'll see here, you know, just people talking about other stuff, you know, just dumb stuff. Like, stuff is the only word I can use because that's the dumbest word to use, because that's how stupid all of this is. I don't understand the thought process behind putting someone like him in office. It's beyond me at this point.
You never need anything that you're fighting against. And to add to that, you better hope that the person that you casted your ballot for has your best interest at heart. Because some of y'all voted with the mind frame of the enemy of your enemy becoming your friend. Some of y'all voted out of spite for other demographics of people.
And while I'm here, let me take a minute to dismantle one common argument that I'm seeing a lot. And that's, you know, both parties are the same, and, you know, Kamala and Donald are two sides of the same coin. No, not by a long shot, actually. Now, me personally, I don't identify with either party. Democrat or Republican. What I will say, my political ideology resides in who is the most progressive. And that's been Democrats. So I guess indirectly you could say I identify with Democrats. But let me get back to the main point here. It's not two sides of the same coin. I'll say this, both of them in the positions that they're in have to uphold American imperialism. And so, yes, voting for Kamala, she's not going to dismantle that system overnight. That system will not let her dismantle it overnight. So we can start to be a little bit real here when we have this conversation. And again, going back to my main point, how is it that one person is actively seeking to help? One person is actively seeking to help student loan forgiveness, homeowners trying to help out first-time home buyers. And then we've got another candidate who is trying to dismantle the Department of Education. That's who y'all voted for. That's who y'all just put in the White House. What are we really doing here? Let's get into it, because I'm at a loss. And for my people who are worried about, what's happening overseas with Gaza and everything, I'm sorry, but I don't have no sympathy for y'all either.
I think you have to let them know, because the best way to do it is through the office of the president, that you do any attacks on former presidents or candidates for president, your country gets blown to smithereens.
That's who y'all just put in office? But no, y'all not gonna vote for Kamala because two sides of the same coin. It's not. Nowhere close. This whole lesser of the two evils, y'all definitely not gonna get that with him. But, go off. And now, I want to just say this to just clear the air. This whole POC thing, this whole people of color thing, I'm not buying into that no more. Sorry. If y'all have seen the numbers of the black people who voted for Kamala versus the Latinos and all the other minorities who voted for Kamala, there is a vast difference. And again, that's who y'all put in office. And again, if I'm not mistaken, I believe one of the first things Donald Trump is going to do when he gets back into office is mass deport immigrants. Mass deport immigrants, whether they're here legally or not. So even if you are technically an American, you still might get the fuck up out of here. But that's who y'all voted for. And let me just end with this. To those of us who did vote the right way, the only question I pose to you now is, what's your alternative? Obviously, we got to stay safe out here, but we got to keep on with the keep on, because at this point, there's nothing else on the table. They would rather have a convicted felon than a black woman. Just really let that sink in. So what y'all gonna do?